Let's just welcome everybody here. My name is Martin Coward. I am a spiritual teacher, prosperity and mindset coach, working with gay, transgender, and bisexual business leaders. And I am joined today by David Harborne, another gay business leaders coach. David, why don't you introduce yourself real quickly?
Hi, Martin. So, and hi, everybody. So I'm actually from the UK, down in, we call it sunny Devon, which is the southwest of the UK. And I'm a coach, and I work with men, basically, who have a secret sexual identity, to support them in realizing who they are from their inner self so that they can be who they truly want to be in this world. And so that's a very short version of me, and we'll talk more a bit later as we go into how we get on camera in a short while.
Well, thank you for that. And yeah, you do there are so many still around the world, LGBTQ business leaders who are in the closet, who are really, they're missing out. Not only are they missing out in their lives, but their companies and everybody else is missing out when people don't show up authentically. So I think you do some really great work out there, David. Thank you for all of that. And today we've got some very exciting, this is the beginning of a concept that David and I came up with when we met a few weeks ago. And we realized that the most effective and the most impactful way that we can grow our businesses is to be able to share our story powerfully online, who we are, what we do, and why we do it. As we all know, people do not buy our products and services, they buy our story. And they buy it because they want what we have. They, as coaches and consultants or whatever it is, people, it's all personal, and that's what makes us. And that's what makes it. Somebody's trying to join us. Sarah, would you see if you can help somebody who's trying to join? I don't know what they're having difficulty with, but maybe we need to drop the link for them into the Facebook group so they can get into the Zoom, because they're having some difficulty. I got a chat about that. But the power of storytelling. And as we move into a world of virtual work, I mean, because of the pandemic, we're no longer, it's a good thing, we just expanded our entire audience base and our base to the world. So we want to take advantage of that. We have a great opportunity to help change the world and shift the world, particularly for us gay people, as we lead this world into what I'm going to call an abundance economy. And there are some parts of the world where they're not feeling that abundance economy, and those are the people that we're going to have joining us today who are from Africa. And I know that we've got one person already on the call, and I think some others joining us of young queer people in Kenya who are in a refugee camp, who are living in pretty miserable conditions, and they're trying to learn how to share their story so they can get out into the international market and change hearts and minds. Because while we might be looking for clients, they're looking for people to come in who want to support them. And then we're going to teach them some tools to be able to more effectively go out and share their story on social media so they can get some support they need to get out of those just unbelievable conditions. So we're all here for a purpose. I don't quite know what that is yet exactly, other than to take everybody and know that every human being, whether you're gay or straight or wherever you live, we live in an abundant world. Everyone needs to enjoy the abundance of this world and live in a life of love, joy, and prosperity. And so we're going to use this platform as a place to teach you guys the tools that we're teaching everybody else to get some help, to get the support, and bring in the people that you need to get what you need to get done. So that's how it's done. So let's see, I see that she did put the link into the chat for people to join us. So maybe whoever let me just check in with that. David, why don't you start? You go ahead and share your screen, and why don't you start with the talking about fear and the fear of public speaking and how fear shows up and all of that. Well, I'll see if I can find these young people and see if I can help them get on the group. Okay.
Great, thank you, Martin. Yeah, so many of us really. So just to start with, my story is that going back a year or so now, I was really frightened to go online and actually sit in front of a camera and record about who I was, what I was doing. And it took an awful lot of confidence to build up. And so what got me online was basically doing what we called a 90-day challenge within a community that was a safe community where we could all practice. And that was really powerful because actually during that process, we repeatedly, every single day, we posted a video. And at the end of this call today, we're going to invite people to do a 21-day video. And the whole idea of that is by practice, practice makes perfect. But we all know that we live in a comfort zone. And I'm just going to share my screen a minute, just to share with you possibly where you might feel you are. So a lot of people live in what we call this comfort zone. And it's a place.
I'm not seeing the screen.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Are you sharing yet?
Let me see if I'll try once again. Any better?
Let me see. I'm still not seeing that. Are you showing a screen of a woman?
No. Let me cancel screen share. Has that gone now?
I could see it.
You can?
I'll reshare.
Maybe because I'm on here, I can't see it.
So, Sarah,
here,
can you see your comfort zone? Oh,
yeah,
you can see it.
Yes, it's good.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so what I was saying is that a lot of us live in what we call this comfort zone, where we are, in a safe space. And what prevents us from really going outside that comfort zone is our fears. And it's what keeps us nicely trapped in that comfort zone. But we know that going through the fears will lead to what we call the learning zone and what we call the growth zone. So if you're facing fear and feeling fear about going live online, it's a good thing. When you're starting to feel that fear, you know that you're heading in the right direction because it means that you're going out of what we call the comfort zone. And here, I'm just going to move up the screen, but here are some sort of ways in which you can sort of detect whether you're still in that comfort zone. So the comfort zone being feeling safe and in control. But if you're starting to feel that you don't have the confidence and you're finding excuses not to do things, then that probably means you're in your fear zone. Now, when it comes to going online and taking videos or going to go live on Facebook and things like that, everybody, I don't know anybody that doesn't get that fear of, and it's how our voice sounds, how we look, and all those things. And one of the big problems is that we're not used to looking at ourselves. So most of us, when we're doing these videos, we use our telephones and we can see ourselves. And it's like, it's quite alien to us to actually be talking to ourselves. And so you get this sort of lack of confidence, making excuses not to do things, and a whole host of other things that come up. Everyone's slightly different. But trust me, once you break through that fear zone, you move into what they call the learning zone. And it's where you gain the new skills and the experience. And, because you're dealing with new challenges and new problems, you're expanding your sort of skill set and starting to move into different areas. And actually, once you build these skills, you're going to be achieving some of the other sorts of things in your life, what we call the growth zone, making your dreams a reality. So if you've had a dream about doing something in your life, it's to go through your fear zone to get to those realities at the end of the day. So I'll close screen share a second now, come back to the main room and welcome. Hello, everybody else who's just joined. Joseph and Peter, nice to meet you. And just to say, so the whole thing here is really about providing and practicing in a safe space. By doing it every single day, you build that new habit, you build that new confidence. And I'm going to go back to what Martin was saying earlier. The most powerful way of getting your message across is through a story. And I know some of the people on this call today that I've already spoken to, from the voices of the voiceless, have got a story to tell. And it's really important that how we share that story to other people, because what we're aiming to do is to impact people emotionally. It's not, there's many reasons to share information. We want to entertain, but we actually might want somebody to actually take action. So when we're creating that message and going online, it's really important to sit back and think about, what is it that I'm doing this for? Why am I creating this video? Because it's so important to, in one video, share one message. If we put everything in one video, it can be really confusing for a lot of people, and they're not sure what our message is. So before we actually start going live and start to create that message, it's very important to be clear about what is it that we want people to do with this. Is it for information? Is it to take action? Or, is it just purely for entertainment? But using storytelling can be a really powerful way of doing it. I'm going to just go back to Martin a second now, because I know Martin wanted to talk very much about how to tell a story.
Yeah, I might pivot a little bit given the guests that we have today. Yeah. We're learning. I mean, we're talking about fear. We're talking about our internal fears. We've got people on the phone. We've got 3 guests here today who are, I want to give them a chance to just introduce themselves and tell us where they are and what they need, because I think that's important. I mean, when this just came up the last few days, I got to know some of these lovely people who are currently living in a refugee camp in Kenya. And I thought, well, what a perfect, the way out of that situation is to be able to impactfully be able to share your story with the world. And you've got a company called The Voices of the Voiceless. And we're going to become, so we want to give you some tools and some platforms on how to bring your voices to the international community. But why don't we just start with all 3 of you? We'll take yourselves off mute and just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're living through right now, so that we have a better understanding of how we can help you. Because you're in a I can better understand how to help you if I better understand your story and get to know you personally. So Peter, do you want to start? I see you've got your camera on, and you can unmute yourself and just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story, Peter. You'll have to unmute yourself. Are you comfortable doing that? We don't have to start with Peter. We can start with Joseph or someone else. There you are.
All right. Okay. Yes, guys. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. And as you see, this is Joseph.
This is Joseph.
Yeah. Yeah, nice meeting you guys all. Nice meeting you, Martin, and other guys. So we are the voice of Voiceless Refugee Africa. We are from different countries. We are youths who faced persecution. As you know, in Africa, there are so many countries which mostly they don't like us, they discriminate us as we LGBTI people. They discriminate us, they torture us from families, from religious leadership, culture. So they don't allow us to be, they don't believe that there are some people who are born gay. So we face persecution a lot in Africa. So we have people from Uganda, we have people from Rwanda, we have people from Congo. Those youths who face persecution, they decided to flee away from their country to come to Kenya so that they can seek asylum, they can be refugees. So when we met here as a group, we decided to discuss more about our stories, because everyone has a story to tell from his or her respective country. We decided to make a story. Then we decided to make a group whereby we are all talented LGBTI people, so that we can advocate, we can bring out our expression to people around the world, the LGBTI people around the world, and we advocate for our rights as we, the LGBTI youths and what can I say? As in, we are doing this to show the world that yes, you don't like us, you do discriminate us, you torture us, but we still exist and we are talented. We can do other people, they are straight people, what they can do. Yeah. You know, they treasure mostly straight people. They know how to sing, they can dance. Like everyone, when they're on stage, they wave at them, making arms, you know. But even us, the LGBTI people who are talented, we can also be like them. And the world can welcome us because we are not harmful. We are human. So that's what we are fighting. We as the refugees and the asylum seekers here in Kenya, because our nationality is not Kenyans, we are from different countries. So we are fighting that so that we also develop our talents. We be like those superstars, but we are advocating our rights as the LGBTI people and youths. That's it. That's the brief story about it.
Thank you so much for cluing us in, and I really think you're onto something, because it's going to be in the telling of your stories. And I mean, I don't know anything really, other than what I would say my experience in life is that, and I've been in some pretty tough situations myself, and that whenever we can tell our story effectively and authentically, our personal story, to the world, and we're going to look at different ways that you can go out and affect, and maybe that's going to be in an interview. But it's also how do you construct that story? Because you don't want to tell. You're not going to get a lot of impact if you tell the story from the place of a victim, and you are a victim. I mean, there is in the external world, you are living in a very difficult situation. So there is some external circumstances that make your life very, very difficult. But there's also some internal conflicts going on within yourselves. And those are the stories that you want to get out and start telling, because that's going to connect with other people's hearts, and it's going to open their hearts to change. And I think where you're going to probably where you really need to get people on board with you are going to be in your straight allies in your home in Kenya. It might be a stretch to try to get to Congo, but if you're living in a camp in Kenya under the circumstances that you showed me in a picture, then we got to appeal to the straight people in the world, around the world. I mean, I can say here in America, it is the white people who supported the black people in the civil rights movement to get laws changed for equality, and it's still not all that great. It's getting better with our new administration, but there's still racism in our country. But it is the white people who are allies to black people that have given their power, or have not taken it, or have seen them as powerful people, have seen them as equals. And it's the same way here in our country with straight allies, with gay we've had straight allies in positions of power who have, with empathy and compassion, have stood up for us and helped us in unison to be able to get out of these difficult situations. So I think that the logic here for me is to help you guys be able to craft some stories so that you can get people close to home, people in Kenya who are straight, to care for you, to have some compassion for you as a fellow brother, human being who sees the horrible circumstances you're living in, and they want to help you. And that's the way, that's your path out. And the path there is going to be sharing your story. So we're going to teach you how to craft that story so that you can open their heart. Does that make sense to you? Good. So
yeah,
because if you tell your story, if it's just another story of I'm a victim in a refugee camp, you're not going to. People might feel sorry for you, but you don't want people to feel sorry for you. You want people to take action and help you get the hell out of there. So you want to tap into their hearts with that. As a fellow, like you said, we're human beings. We hurt. We're in pain, and that's what you want to talk about, is that your own personal pain that you're going through of just not even feeling like you're human. Being told you're less than human is painful enough, isn't it? So I'm going to show you how a business leader should craft a story, and then I'm going to ask you, if you will, to check in with me and tell me a little bit about how you could, we're going to make this as interactive as possible, how you could make it. So we call this the Epiphany Bridge story. It is the story of that connects one way of being to another way of being. It's like an aha moment. And I honestly don't know how this is going to relate to you. So it's going to be really interesting to sort of see how we bring this into your lives in your situation. And let me share my screen with you really quickly here. So it's called the Epiphany Bridge story. And it starts out with a backstory. It starts out with who I am. So maybe for me, it was like, my story was, I'm a coach. I was approaching the standard retirement age of 65, and I was paralyzed with fear. I was in this job, and I wasn't really happy, and I was scared. I didn't have the money I needed to retire. That's my backstory. I won't go through the whole thing, but that's my backstory. So then there's the external struggle. So here, that's kind of how I got to where I am today. It's called the backstory. The next part, there's two struggles going on. There is the external struggle. And for me, it seemed like I was struggling to find clients. I was in so much fear that I couldn't even bring in clients. That's the external problem. So the external situation was such that I was about to go into bankruptcy because I didn't have the fear. And so I had to tell that story. That's the external struggle. But internally, and that's where we have to challenge ourselves, is how do we resolve that internal conflict, that there was something wrong with me. Maybe in your case, maybe it's something, the internal conflict, our own internalized homophobia that we have to work through ourselves, because the world has told us we're something less than, we're not good enough. So we have that internal conflict that's going on within ourselves. I felt like I was drowning in fear. I felt shame and unworthy of my position in my office, and I felt like an imposter, and that's my internal conflict. So do you understand the difference between the internal, Joseph, and the external conflict and how might you articulate those two in yourself? Would you mind participating with me a little bit, Joseph or Peter? You have to take yourself off on mute. How would you identify your backstory and your internal external struggle? One of y'all want to try this and give it a shot?
Martin, can I?
Yes. Anybody can jump in.
Yeah. So, like I'm going to begin with my internal struggle.
Okay. What is your internal struggle?
Is it okay? Within myself, the fear factor within myself of being fear and I know the place around me is not that welcoming. So even if there is anything that I will be good at, I will always be having that fear factor that I might do it and I express myself in a certain way and I end up being arrested or beaten. And another internal struggle that I can see is lack of enough self-esteem and lack of enough self-belief and a lot of doubting. I don't know if that is making sense. And some of the external struggles, it is about acceptance, lack of opportunity. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I don't know if really I answered what you.
So if you were to boil that internal struggle down to one sentence, to one internal conflict, one belief that's not true, what would that belief be about yourself?
That thing of not believing in myself, like I have never believed that I'm good at anything, and I normally take people's opportunities, but even if I'm trying to do something good, I end up losing it.
Okay. Do one of you other men want to share a little bit of your internal, external struggle or your backstory with us?
Pardon?
I was asking,
yes.
I think Joseph is going to share.
Thank you for this opportunity. But according to what I know about this lesson or subject, as in there is that feeling whereby we, the LGBTI community, we are not intellectual. Yes, we might be intellectual, but we have that fear. We have self-doubt in us, whereby I can be like, as I told you, that we are talented, but we fear ourselves that when I come out as an LGBTI artist, as an LGBT performer, what will people see in me, as in their perspective in me? That is what we have.
And what do you see in yourself? What is the story about you? What are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself what is the negative or the shadow or the dark thing you're telling yourself that makes you believe that other people will not see you as talented? What is the conflict in you? You know, part of you knows you're talented, but there's a part of you also that's in conflict telling you something else.
Yeah, it's because here in Africa, it's not allowed. So we have that fear that when I come out, people will stone me, people will be against me. But if at all we were free, I would have done anything which brings out my expression, my well-being, I bring out my character as me. I'm a trans whereby I can dress up a dress, I go out, I perform when I'm in a dress, but I do that while hiding because of our culture here in Africa. It doesn't allow it. But if at all we are telling these stories, our stories, because we need people to help us to show even these African countries African leaders that yes, we are here as African LGBTI people, but we can be more important in the world as other straight people, who are there.
Let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. So because you're living in a country where everyone's telling you that you're less than, you're not as good as a straight person. You've got an internal belief that you're not as good as a straight person. So you're out there.
Yes.
We do that here. So we're always out there trying to prove to the world we're as good as they are. When we really shouldn't have, because the conflict is, you also know inside you that you have a lot to offer the world because you're a human being and you're a trans man and you a woman, whichever way you look at it, and you've got some very valuable gifts to bring to the world. But you know that's your internal conflict, is that you've got a part of you that says you're not as good as a straight person, and you've got a deeper part of you, the truth of who you are, your authentic part, that says I am as good, and actually the world is missing out because they can't see and hear from me. Is that pretty close to it? Did I capture that pretty well?
Pardon, because there was some echoes.
Okay, we're going to get through this. Okay, so that's the kind of the internal and the external struggle for you is you're in a refugee camp. I mean, there's real circumstances for you. You're trying to. I was speaking to someone. Was it one of you who wants to be a doctor or a nurse? Somebody spoke to me the other day that really would like to be a doctor or a nurse one day. Was that one of you? I can't remember. Someone
No, not really. That one is for us. We are in Nairobi, Kajiado County. That one was in Kakuma camp.
Okay.
But what we need to do, we need like to have a safe space whereby we can bring out the LGBTI people who are talented, who are focused, so that we can develop our skills, our talents when we are together. You know, if we are together, when we are staying together, you know, like I told you, we need a team capacity building. You can't make a team when everyone stays far from each other. But when we are together, we bring out ideas, we tell stories. So we are building a strong team whereby we can fight people and we can win. It's like football. It's like a team connection, teamwork. So that's what we want to do. We want to build a strong team whereby we have doctors there, we have performers there, we have musicians there. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of the musicians, but what we're talking about here is sharing your story and getting people to know you on the international scale. That's what we're trying to help you do, is help you articulate a story so that if you're out there, I mean, how you found me is because, and I'm just one of millions of people who would like to help you. I mean, but the thing is, we got to get you out we've got to help you figure out how to create an international tribe, an international community. In the beauty of virtual space is you can do that without. I mean, we're in community right now. There's 6 of us on the phone right now having a conversation about how to resolve your dilemma. And that's how it gets happened. It happens by conversation and by sharing stories. And we've got to figure out how do we take this and we got to expand it to the larger world. And that's going to be. And we can help you do it. But first, we got to start with what's the story you're going to tell to pull people into this community that you need, this international community that needs to be both straight and allies and gay people in order to really create the momentum you need in order to change the circumstances in your country. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really makes sense.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, you've already planted the seed. You've already got it going. Now we're just going to help you articulate the story and grow what you're already doing out into the internet, out into the world, so that people can get to know who you are as human beings. You know, pictures of you, see videos of you, and we're going to give you some tools to do that with. So, one of them is like, how do you? Let's see, what does this say? You got something? It is okay. You shave mine out on that. Well, yeah, the backstory is really, you know, you would share. One of you want to give it a shot. It's like, who are you? It's like, I was this guy. I'm a trans man or trans woman in Nairobi, and I had to flee to Kenya, and I'm now in this of the rest of my community around the world because it's unsafe for us to be here. Go ahead, Joseph, and explain and see. That's your backstory. It's like, who are you and how'd you get here? And then it's like, what's struggling? So that's what that would be. And I think with y'all's homework, what I would do is I would write these pieces up for yourselves, and then let David and I try to help you wordsmith them so that when we come on, and then come into the Facebook group. You're gonna. What do you think about this idea, David? Is that we start with just coming into the Facebook group, and we'll help you articulate, write out the story, write out your back, and I'll give you this whole template after we get off this thing. And we're going to start with just the beginning. We're going to start with just 2 parts here, and then you're going to come into the Facebook group and actually go live and just after we help you articulate it, we have to help you write it. Then you can come in and you can actually practice it inside our Facebook group. How does that sound?
No, can I go on?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Martin. Yeah, true. It's true, and we like that. That's why we post in the group, our Facebook group, the one which you are the admin. And as I told you, everyone is from a different country, and we have a story. Everyone has its own story.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody
has. What we need to put that story into a documentary. Well, whereby.
Yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful goal. I mean, and we might very well, that might be exactly what happens as we get the eye of a documentary filmmaker, which I know we all, there's a lot of them here, but we got to teach you how to tell a compelling story to get their attention to want to create the documentary. So that's so I agree. I think that's a wonderful idea, but we want to get their attention. I think the better you guys are, the 3 of you that are here visiting today and articulating the story, that would be a great way to get, but we got to kind of have a pilot, if you will. We got to have a little bit of a something. We can't just go in and say, we got these guys that are refugees in Kenya who need a documentary, because what makes you unique? That's just the general story. But when each of you learn how to articulate that story in the way we're going to show you, then you're going to be able to talk to that guy, and we're going to be able to bring them into the conversation, and they'll say, God, these guys have got a great story. I want to make it. It's something that will sell. It's something that will get attention. So that's a great goal. The purpose of maybe teaching you some techniques and some tools for going live is to give you the tools you need to get the eyes of a documentary person, and I know a number of people that we can introduce you to. So let's make that our goal. Let's get you really clear about how to articulate your story, how to tell it, and also realize, and where we work with you, is that if you'll work with us, English is not your first language. So we're going to help you with some wordsmiths so that you can use the right words and we can get the right story in. And it doesn't have to be the right word, but the word that makes sense for you and related to us. So I think that would be a great goal for us to set as part of this 21-day challenge is to get you speaking well enough on your personal story that people want to do a documentary about you. And that would get a lot of eyes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So let me ask Martin. So we need everyone to present his or her own story so that we can document it, like a personal story. I have my story. Peter has his own story. Roger has his own story. Brace has his own story, and other guys have their own story. So we can take each one's story so that we can do a documentary on someone's story. That's what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. And what we're going to do here is we're going to. I mean, this is. Let me show you. Let me take you through all the parts of a story, and then we'll give you some homework to do because it's getting close to 15 minutes. But I think we've gotten some. I think we've gotten some real clarity now on how we can help you and where we want to go with this. So when you're creating what we call the Epiphany Bridge story,
all right.
And this is how business leaders get people like me. I get people to want to do business with me because they share. This is how you're going to get a documentary maker to want to engage with you and help you get your message to the world. So you start with the backstory, and then we do the internal, and then there's a wall. What happened where you hit your bottom? What happened where you hit where you are today? Something happened, and that's what happened. And then you say, "Wow!" So, and then there's this wow. Then there's a wow moment. Wow, where you learned something. You learned how you got here. You heard something in your story that really stood out. That made you that's unique. Like for me, it was like I realized that my earliest memories were my parents were always arguing about money. My great grandfather killed his brother. My grandfather committed suicide over money, and my parents argued all their life about it. That is a life of tragedy around money. That's my tragedy story, if you will. So, my grandfather was one of the wealthiest men in the South, and I'll give all this to you. And so, and my grandfather went to a great school. So then I had this understanding of my past, my history that put me into this current predicament, you see. Then there's the plan as a result, and I realized really that it was all based on my own belief system. That's my story, not yours, but my story. So that's my epiphany. It's like, wow, I none of this is true. I believed I was unworthy, but it wasn't really true. The truth is this, and then you go over to it and you call the plan. As a result of this experience, when I realized of who I wasn't as a fatal flaw in the world, I wasn't rated as a fatal flaw as a gay person or an LGBT person, I realized that I had something really big to offer the world. Then I began to create a plan, a strategy to get out. And then I always will hit another conflict. If you watch a movie, it's always, you start out with doing well, then all of a sudden they hit some kind of conflict, both an external and an internal conflict. And then they kind of get, I get a wow moment. And then I'll start life going. And then all of a sudden more conflict comes in, more trouble comes into the story. So then you talk about that. And so unfortunately I was a big head of my time. And then all of a sudden I was scared and I was broke. I was back in I had this belief that I was worthy and abundant, but on the one hand, I was also broke and I didn't have any money. So I had this this new conflict inside myself that I had to resolve. And then what did you do to overcome it? And in your case, it might be what you're doing now to overcome it. You're learning how to share your story. You came to this workshop. You're learning how to tell your story in a way. So now it's the truth. It's just telling the real true story of who you are without a lot of emotional attachments. You're not a victim. This is my plight. This is my story. And then what is the big shiny achievement in the end? And of course, for all of you, it's not just to have a documentary, but it's to be free to live a life of love and joy and abundance and be yourselves. That's your whole thing. And then it goes on further and further. But that's the sort of the format, if you will. That's the formula for creating a compelling story to get people to take action. Does that make sense, or do you have any questions?
Yeah, it makes sense. I do appreciate, but I would love, if it is possible, if you could share with us some of those notes. Maybe you can share them.
Yeah, I'll put together some notes for you guys and some homework, so you can maybe some kind of a worksheet that you can work on. And then if you do the written piece, I'll help you with the wording and to see if you're on the right track. And then you can come on live and share it with a group. And we'll just start with a couple of the first. Well, you can go as far as you want to, but I think if we work with we break it down into parts. Not only will you guys learn, but I think that this is going to be very beneficial for our audience here in America of business leaders, because it's the same thing. It is exactly, I mean, you've got your struggles, you've got your thing there. We have ours here. And so we're all trying to get through the same conditions and have a different change in the way we see ourselves in the world. So absolutely, I'll give you some tools to do that. So I'm going to be, I've talked a lot, and I'm going to let David add a few things and see what he thinks about the direction we're going in. And he's got some comments on that. When we put this together, this is not what I expected, but to me, this is more powerful. I mean, helping you men get this out there in the world is important to me. David?
Thank you, Martin. Yeah. Really, really interesting. And what I'm hearing is really quite a compelling story here. And I'm visualizing as you're talking about a documentary. And I think you've done, at the start of this presentation, we talked about a lot of people in our comfort zone and how we have to go through that fear zone. And some of you guys are clearly on that edge of breaking through some of that fear. And I just want to ask really, Joseph, how are you breaking, because actually you're doing the right thing by going through those fear zones. You're going to get to the learning zone and to grow and achieve those dreams that you want. So I'm just going to ask Joseph, how have you come to the point whereby you are able to break through these fears that you've had about maybe coming on this call or even sharing your story?
It's like, as we have a lot of stories. Like I have a lot of story from my my country of residence, and I saw that in my country I can't express myself. So that's why I decided to come to another country, my neighboring country, Kenya, so that I can also, you know, me, that side I didn't want people to know me that I'm gay. Yeah. And I didn't want even everyone to know, but unfortunately they got to know it. By the way, me, I faced even I faced a challenge whereby they wanted to kill me because of my sexual orientation. But when I came this side, I got to see people who are determined. So they gave me courage so that I can get out of that fear, and I come out as an LGBT activist, an LGBT performer, so that I can show the world. There are a lot of people who are there. There are a lot of youths who are there who are still in fear. But if at all we do this, we advocate, we show that yes, we are human. even despite of your sexual orientation, despite of your culture, despite of your religion, but you are human and you can be like other people. So these people who I met this site in Kenya, they gave me courage. They gave me courage so that I can get out of that fear. But if at all I was alone, I was like alone and isolated, I would have committed suicide maybe. I would have got mad. But you know, when you meet other people who knows you, people who can talk to you, people who can counsel you, you get relieved. That's how I got out of fear.
So that's brilliant. Joseph, yeah, you've just told a really powerful story there. Just by going through that, I was with you on your journey. And what came to me is you're an inspiration. And and what you can see is a story like that can be very inspirational to fellow colleagues, fellow people in your country, to know that there is hope, that there is other people like us, LGBT, LBG, I can't say it now, there's so many letters, but gay people, trans, and all the others. So, you're an inspiration, but actually, you know what I'm going to say? You're also an inspiration to everybody who's watching this call in the UK and in America, because to come out and in a situation like that is incredibly challenging for anyone. But you've done it. And because you've overcome and you're overcoming that fear, actually you're moving into the learning now. And actually you will achieve those dreams. You've got a clear vision, great leadership. I'm picking up great leadership, great vision, documentary, and how to inspire others. So you're definitely, I think an inspiration, I would say. That one story is an inspiration. So I would encourage, like Martin was saying, to take some time out to develop those stories. They don't have to be long, just short stories about, what's happened. And they're very, very compelling. And these are the stories that will change other people's opinion of the situation, because what you're trying to do is emotionally connecting to people, not on a rational level. We all know it's not right, what's happening, but actually what we want to do is to connect with them emotionally so that they are compelled to change and compelled to, and I think to be a leader in your own country is amazing. And what I would say, Martin, I know we haven't got a great deal of time, I'm more than happy to do individual, depends on what, because this is Martin's Facebook group. But if any of you want to go through a process of me interviewing you to help you develop that story so that you can share it on Martin's Facebook, I'm more than happy to do that.
Let me just say that I am agreeing with your story. I agree with David 100%. Your story you are inspiring. And it's just so wonderful to see your smile. I just love your smile. And yes, you got it. You got everything.
Thank you, Martin.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna help you craft it and master it so that it just comes natural to you. It does come natural to you. And that's the point of coaching, is to get you to be your authentic, natural self. And you're a very inspiring storyteller. So what I would say is, David, what I love to see you do as part of engagement is to work with one-on-one, and then come on here, go into the Facebook group, set up a live demo. You can even announce it. One of our students is going to be doing David is going to be doing a live interview with Joseph on Friday or Monday at 2:00. Stay tuned to see the progress he's made, and you're going to go through an interview process. And we can do that with a lot of you. We want this to be a 21-day challenge that's interactive and engaging. And this is exactly what we want this to be. This is the first time we've done this, so we don't really know what we're doing. But to me, I think the power is in the actual doing it and experiencing it. So
And
So
what I would say, Martin, as well, one of the most powerful things that you've talked about is you're all a group of talented individuals.
yeah.
So we don't only have to talk your story. I've heard some poetry that you've already done in your group. So you can either, you could post individually into the group your poems, your music, or whatever it is, because expression is not just us telling a story.
Right.
Expression can be in many different ways, in visuals. Everyone learns differently. So don't be afraid to tap into those talents, because I've seen some of your poetry and I think it was really beautiful what you were talking. And really taking it back to what this call was about is, don't be afraid to go online and make mistakes. It never is perfect the first time you do it, but the more you practice, the more you develop these skills of actually going out there. So it becomes second nature to us, because it is unusual to talk online, but it's possible. And you've got a vision, and it's about now the mission to get to that vision. And I think Martin's group and the 21-day video challenge will be a way to do that. And actually you can put all those stories together and make a documentary. It's quite easy to edit. If you don't have the software, I've got the software to edit some of this stuff, so you can easily make a low budget documentary. It's not beyond the wit.
And I have editing tools. We could easily.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, good.
And I've got good editing tools. I mean, I make videos all the time, so we can help you do that. And David, you're right. Come on every day live, practice. Come on, all of you. Come on, everybody watching the replays. Come in here and just tell us who you. Keep it simple. If you want to, you just tell us who you are. Tell us your name, where you're from, what you're doing, what you want to accomplish, and what your challenges are, or tell us about a victory you had. You might say, we had something really wonderful happen here today, and share it with us. Don't just share us with the challenge, but tell us some of the good things that happened. You had an opportunity to perform, and people liked your performance. Come in and talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, come in and tell us.
True.
We want to get to know you and your story. And this Facebook group is a safe place for you to come and be yourself.
Okay.
No.
Every one of you, whether you're on the live today or you're watching the replay later, anyone watching and listening is a part of the group. Please come on and tell us your story. That's the challenge. Get comfortable. And you know what? If you're brand new at it, it's gonna probably suck because you don't know how to do it yet. But you're going to get better and better the more you do it. So I go back and look at some of my videos I made a year ago, and they're awful because I wasn't comfortable yet. But I do it every day, and and then we might even think about maybe there's a live program that I did this because I created a live program before the pandemic. I created a daily live show. Maybe that's what you end up doing is you end up creating a daily live show where you interview people you create something where you're interviewing people in your community about sharing their story, and so you might even create a Facebook group of your community. It's endless the possibilities for communicating out in the world today and creating that community.
And I think I was just going to say this is as equally applicable to any business leader, gay business leader out there. Because actually there's a story to tell in everybody. And
yes.
I defy anybody to say they don't have a story. And maybe that confidence isn't there yet. So please use the channel that Martin's created to share your story. And usually it's 1 to 2 minutes. If you can just go for 1 minute and just say, my name is, I come from, it's a start. And then do it the next day and just tell us a bit more. And slowly what happens, your confidence builds and you're more comfortable with the camera. And then slowly you'll be surprised over a period of time how competent you become. And there's loads of other things to learn, but just getting on camera and starting is the hardest one. So I wish everybody luck on this. And I'm going to hand back to Martin because I know we're running out of time.
Yeah, we're over time. I want to thank you guys, everybody, for joining us. And if you're watching the replay, put your comments in and we'll come back and help you. And you gentlemen, thank you so much.
Martin.
Yeah.
As an let me make my my, how can I say it? Not a conclusion, but let me say that you guys, Martin and David, thank you very much for engaging us in this Zoom and telling us all what we didn't know, because really, this is so nice. We're doing things, but we didn't have like someone who can advise us, like you guys you're doing. Now we are seeing, we are moving to another step.
Yes.
Yeah, we are moving to another step. Thank you so much. And before we close, I think other people, they can make like a submission, a fine submission before we guys will meet, because we have been I'm not alone. There are the people, my colleagues who are online, who are on Zoom, they can make a submission, but really it's so nice. We are going to do that. And for any challenge, we shall be letting you know. Yeah, we shall be texting you, we shall be emailing you. Yeah.
Yep.
That's it, because this is not we only, it's worldwide, whereby we can't do it alone. We have to be with you people, so that you guide us and we bring out our stories to people, because me, I can't bring my story to people without someone who's like supporting me to bring the story to people, because I might have a story, but I don't have equipment to use to record my story. Yeah. There are some even documents whereby I can do my story, whereby I need to show that like the challenges which I go through, and even the benefits. Yeah, as you told me, with Martin, you told us that not every story has only positives. There are even some negatives in a story.
Oh yeah, there are definitely every story's got some conflict. So we are running out of time, and I'm going to say something to you. We're recording this. This may be a documentary one day. Who knows? And if you want to, you can go back in the replays and and you can watch this again today. You can see how you showed up on camera, and so come on and play with us. We're going to have a good time, okay? Over the next few weeks together. I'm so glad we're friends, and I'm so glad we're doing this, and we're just getting started. This is just the beginning, and I've just got enormous ideas and of how we might be able to really make something fabulous happen here with this thing. So
all right, so let other people, my colleagues, also make a submission.
Yeah, go ahead.
A fine submission. Then you also make a submission. Then
go ahead. That's be fine. Go right ahead and